Thanks for coming out and watching the oxymoronic Reddit Professional Show, where I showcase the best and worst of the internet. Here I comment on brilliant and hilarious comment chains regarding dumb shit on the internet for you to enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button so that you get notifications every time we come up with a new video. Enjoy this week's show.
Life pro tip: if you're trying to explain net neutrality to someone who doesn't understand, compare it to the possibility of the phone company charging you more for calling certain family members or businesses. That doesn't work. People are blindly used to cable TV and don't understand the significance of the comparison. This phone idea sounds much easier to understand, especially since it's applying the absence of neutrality to another thing that is neutral, or supposed to be neutral. We could also sort of compare it to power. Power companies could lobby a law to put a meter on your 240V connection and charge you extra to run your clothing dryer. More and more people are cutting the cord when it comes to cable because they're realizing that they can finally only pay for what they want to watch. My family thinks this is fine. They've had cable all their lives and still don't understand how my wife and I watch all our shows on a tiny stick, Roku Express. Educate them. Money talks. I'm sure you know their viewing habits. Find all the shows they watch that are available online. Make a spreadsheet showing the cost of what they actually watch vs the cost of their cable package. Once they realize the savings, then they'll switch. Then they'll talk to their friends about how much money they save, and then those friends will switch, and so on and so on. Why not just use a real-world example? Comcast creates its own version of Netflix, but it's more expensive and has commercials. As it stands, with net neutrality intact, both have equal footing, and if Comcast wants its version of Netflix to compete, it has to actually make its version better in some way. Yay, competition! Without net neutrality, all Comcast has to do is slow down Netflix, so that it buffers every time you watch it. Now they both suck an equal amount, and you have to choose between a service that buffers constantly and a service with commercials. Boo, monopoly. Why not just use a real-world example? Comcast creates its own version of Netflix, but it's more expensive and has commercials. So, Hulu. There is already a real-world example people overlook. DirectNow does not add to your data caps when using AT&T LTE. That is something that would be stopped. Post office analogy works better. Net neutrality is like a law preventing the post office from being able to control the content of your mail, charge variable rates to receive your mail based on whatever arbitrary rules they decide rather than based on expense, and limit the areas/people you can receive mail from based on what mail package you've subscribed to. Your grandma in Kansas trying to send you a birthday card? Sorry, our bronze package only includes your state and the surrounding counties. But for $40 extra, we can upgrade you to our silver package, which covers Kansas, Arizona, and Los Angeles County. What a deal! This analogy works best against the ISP's biggest argument, that because it's their servers and wiring delivering the network, that they have the right to control it. Nope, no more than the mailman can refuse to deliver nudie mags. Basically, no matter what analogy you use, the point is that these government-protected monopolies, which can be a good thing when properly controlled, should not be able to charge more if there is no significant proof that the company's expenses have risen. I know it's a rudimentary understanding, but my high school econ teacher told us companies like the city water supplier can't increase prices unless it can prove to the government that costs have risen, since it's been a subsidized/protected/regulated monopoly and it costs a lot to build a pipeline network. The same should apply to ISPs. Edit: water has been deemed a utility, to boot, which is the more important factor. If internet were considered to be in the same category as water, we likely wouldn't be discussing this issue. It's not a life-giving substance, however it's pretty integral to our daily lives whether or not you want it to be. Horrible comparison. Older folks will just think it's the norm, since calls always had regional rates. Free long distance wasn't even a thing 20 years ago. A better comparison would be more like toll roads, where they might have to pay to go to their favorite store, while all store they don't like might be free. Or the path to their workplace is a single lane, but they can pay a fee to use the 5-lane toll road right next to it. An analogy where the company only controls the last mile of your connection to the world is really how to get the full point across. Imagine a paving company who did your driveway charges you to use it. In addition, they charge you more to go to small stores in your town, but give you discounts to go to big box stores, which they happen to have a paid agreement with. Especially considering they only actually control that last mile. Once you're off that, it shouldn't make any difference to them where you go, but for some reason they think they're entitled to know and control your destination. And this is why net neutrality is going to die, because we gave it such a weird, strange-sounding name that requires immediate explanation whenever it's mentioned. You can't sway public opinion this way. Because we couldn't just call it free and open internet or unrestricted internet. Someone genius decided that we should give it a weird, cryptic, smart-sounding label, and everyone went along with it. And it's part of the reason why the average Joe still doesn't know what it is. Notice how all successful politicians give their campaign an easy, relatable name/slogan. The Straight Talk Express. The Common Sense Revolution. Make America Great Again. That is how it's done. You give it a name/slogan that everyone from the most stupid hillbilly to the suburban stay-at-home mom knows what it means. Like that guy said in Stranger Things Season 2, water it down. And better yet, if we called it unrestricted internet, opponents would have to say that they oppose an unrestricted internet, and in saying that alone their argument is already shot. Net neutrality. Who the f***, man? Want to switch phone companies? Wouldn't it be great if you could call them? Too bad every time you try and call them the line is busy or you can't get service. Got a great small business that's cheaper and better than your bigger competitor and looking to expand? Too bad your business threatens a larger business that decided to pay Comcast a special premium. Now for some reason your website is incredibly slow and nobody can connect to make purchases or use your services. Now your website just shows up as unavailable in all areas under most providers. Most people think we shouldn't have net neutrality because they think the internet provider has the right to do whatever they want with the service they provide. That's the heart of capitalism. They think if this stuff would happen, a better neutral ISP will come along to replace it. What they don't understand and what needs to be explained is that gutting net neutrality kills capitalism, because nearly all businesses work through the internet. Internet advertising just surpassed TV this year. This will kill the competition in the market that capitalists worship. It will hand over power in the market to Comcast, AT&T, Verizon, and Time Warner, leading to insider trading, corruption, unstoppable monopolies, and economic recession. I don't even want to think about what will happen over the next 10 years while technology becomes more integrated in our lives. It can make everyday life a living nightmare. Life will become a series of microtransactions to get anything done. There are valid reasons to oppose net neutrality. Net neutrality forces competition. There are no valid reasons to protect monopolies. Teddy Roosevelt was not a socialist when he fought monopolies. The thing is, anyone who believes themselves to be a free market capitalist must understand that free market capitalism can't exist in a monopolized market. Net neutrality forces monopolies for major corporations like Google and Netflix. You have no idea what you are talking about. The issue is more complicated than a small post on Reddit. If you truly didn't want to be a free lobbyist sheep for Google, I could explain it to you over PM. Net neutrality is internet socialism. It is basically the government picking who gets to win and who gets to pay more. End ISP users are crowdfunding Netflix's low subscriber costs whether you subscribe to Netflix or not, and you are fighting for Netflix to keep that privilege because you are a low information voter. Net neutrality forces monopolies for major corporations like Google and Netflix. These major corporations are far better suited to paying for preferential access. The lack of NN actually makes it easier for them to fight off startups. End ISP users are crowdfunding Netflix's low subscriber costs whether you subscribe to Netflix or not, and you are fighting for Netflix to keep that privilege because you are a low information voter. I pay for access. I have data caps. I searched long and hard for a plan with low caps. As long as I stay within my usage, it's nobody's business whom I am getting my content from. Especially since there's now more players in the streaming content field. It's not just Netflix. I watch Netflix, I watch Amazon, I watch Google, YouTube, I watch some out-of-country streaming providers. I should not be forced to pay for my access, then indirectly pay for some of these providers having preferential treatment by ISP. The opposition to net neutrality is the ISP saying, I want to build a walled garden and charge everyone outside at a higher rate so that I could upsell to my internet customers, since I also happen to be a content reseller. It's the built-in conflict of interest. Internet access is a vital public utility. It's about time our government realized that. Enact laws and regulations that minimize the monopolization of that market, and make sure there's equal access to the resource by all players. And the access control is the key. There would be no talk of net neutrality if the consumers had the real choice of ISPs, since no sane access providers would play that game. The attempt to get rid of the NN regulations is the attempt to monetize their monopolistic position. I always use the water company comparison. Water flows into your house. Use the water to take a shower, 12 cents a gallon. Oh, now you want to make spaghetti, 45 cents a gallon. Spaghetti is not an approved water use case. You pick up your phone to order pizza. It's free to call Papa John's Pizza. Any other pizza place in town costs $5 just to call them. Papa John's worked out the deal with Verizon. You say, well, I might as well just call Papa John's and save the $5 rather than try the new pizza place in town. Everyone is fighting for freedom. It's freedom of the consumer versus freedom of the business to take advantage of the consumer. That's the net neutrality issue. Or you could use the example that you are scared that the phone company might possibly charge more to call certain numbers, so you ask the government to protect you. Now let's use real-world examples of the government misusing their power or ruining the free economy. But hey, you can sleep at night now knowing that if Comcast wants to create its own Netflix, the government red tape will protect you. And it won't definitely stop progress from future innovations due to government red tape. But hey, I'm a biased libertarian that doesn't want to pay for drugs and want drug dealers to be able to sell meth to children. My favorite analogy is from the internet dark days, downloading freeware and other crap. Some websites had two mirrors for downloading the same file, one that you could pay for and get the download at full speed, or another that would take a metric load of time to download. This is what happens when you don't have net neutrality, except instead of the website host f***ing you over, it's your ISP. Your ISP gets to pick and choose who they want on board, and if they don't like a specific service because it directly competes with them or another service that they support, they can force both that company and you to pay extra. The company that the ISP doesn't want you to use would have to pay a fee to not have their services throttled on the ISP's network, and you would have to pay an additional fee not to have that service throttled on your end. This causes the customer's cost to go up, the service's cost to go up, and the ISP's pockets to get fuller. The best part of it is, ISPs aren't going to do shit to maintain or manage their networks well once NN disappears, because they'll have all the money and the power and can effectively say, go f*** yourself, if you don't like it, leave, which presents with another problem. Most places only have one, or maybe two ISPs. Really, taking away net neutrality just says, f*** the consumer, we want more money. This has always been my analogy. Think of it like this. The internet service you pay for allows you to go anywhere on the internet, like roads for a car, and physical businesses and other places you want to go to are the websites you visit. You should be able to go anywhere you please in your car unhindered whenever you want to, right? Let's say you want to go pick up a couple steaks at a local butcher shop, or hit up a farmer's produce truck for some sweet corn, or go to your local game shop. Well, now the city has made a deal with the Walmart Corporation for an amount of money local shops can't match, guaranteeing them preferential use of roads. Your speed limit is 1 mile per hour for any shopping that isn't at Walmart. And it's a possibility the streets to stores that aren't Walmart are closed during peak shopping hours or at all times if Walmart paid enough to the city. Though depending on the city and the deals they have made, you may be able to select what stores you want unhindered access to for $50 each per month. Then there is the case for greedier cities having your base access limited as well, where unless you pay additional money you can only travel 100 miles in total to anywhere in town each month. After that 100 miles, an overuse fee of $2 per mile is added on. This is what we call a data cap, which are already widely in use. Think of your cell phone plan and how you can go over on data. Some internet service providers would love for that model to be as widely accepted for home internet as well. This kind of stuff is what net neutrality prevents for the internet. It is way more likely to happen in the digital medium since most people won't understand why their website won't load when other websites do, making them likely to blame the website they are trying to access or to just straight give up and use the alternative that works since it paid off the internet service provider to be part of their preferred site network. Small startup businesses won't be able to afford to have a functional website if there is any competition with the money to pay off an ISP. It isn't about a successful business shutting out a small one through normal means, it's about the free market's ability to support any website they choose without forced influence.
If you enjoyed this week's effective way to waste time, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you are enjoying the series, leave me a comment below. A special shout out to the content creators. You frickin' rock.